Seiler, a history of piano makers who gained world renown. The story begins in the year 1849 with the cabinet maker and musician Eduard Seiler. He was an inspired expert in his field and an excellent pianist. By 1870, 1,000 instruments had been made at his workshop, and 2 years later, the figure had doubled. The first factory buildings on his own premises were erected in 1874. His son Johannes Seiler continued his father's works and by 1881 was already employing 120 piano makers at what was considered the largest piano factory in East Germany. In 1923, Anton Seiler Dutz took over and continued extending the factory, which now has an annual output of 3,000 instruments, employing 450 piano makers. Close to his heart was also the further development of the instruments themselves in order to provide for the future. Honors and gold medals came from all over the world, underlying the high quality of workmanship achieved. Today, Seiler is under the direction of the fourth generation, Steffen Seiler with his wife Ursula. Situated in Franconian Kitzingen, the company now has a newly developed modern factory complex established in 1961, together with a range of grand and upright pianos. This range had been continuously developed to suit current music trends and tastes. At the grand piano we find the fifth generation, Manuela Seiler with her parents. Acoustic beauty is not merely a matter of chance. The tone wood, finely ringed alpine pine for the soundboard is personally selected by the owner of the company upon the sound advice of the head forester of the district. Strict selection ensures that the special Seiler sound is not only achieved but becomes all the more rounded throughout decades of life.
Das wäre eigentlich der ideale Stamm.
Sehr ideal, ja, wunderbar.
Der ist auch gesund. Okay.
The forestry area and the wood's growth are closely monitored. Tone wood is air seasoned and climatically cared for before the processing stage. The soundboard is built under the personal supervision of the owner of the company and his experienced team of specialists. Exactly assorted, using finely ringed boards in the treble and coarsely ringed in the bass, the soundboard is then glued. It is now processed according to exactly prescribed thickness, 9 mm in the treble and 7 mm in the bass. Experienced workers then check the quality of the wood selected together with the durability of the glued joints before the wood is further processed by the piano maker who, for his part, ensures a computer-assisted further drying process to 4.5%. The manner of machining and gluing of ribbing ensures that the soundboard retains its curvature, developed over the generations by the Seiler family. It is similar to a violin belly and holds a precisely calculated tonal clarity for decades. Furthermore, the membertor system on the grand piano soundboard, which is patented by Seiler, uniquely enhances the vibration of the soundboard. For more than a century, bridges have been handmade by craftsmen out of wedge-split beech trunks. The grand piano bridge is made up of beech laminates finished in maple, while the piano bridge is cut out of vertically ringed solid wood. In this field of traditional craftsmanship, bridges without any split can be traced back to the company's founding year in spite of the considerable string tension over 440 hitch pins. The maker of the soundboard bonds the ribs to the soundboard, and in the process, the curvature becomes clearly apparent. In the case of the Seiler instruments, the soundboard's varnish not only enhances acoustic beauty but acts as protection against negative environmental forces, thus contributing to the axiomatic longevity of our instruments. Varnishing is therefore carried out with the utmost care. The back is fabricated before the soundboard can be processed further. In the case of the grand pianos, and depending on the model, 10 to 17 layers of beech and 4 to 6 beech rest bars with strictly monitored wood drying to approximately 5% achieve maximum stability to absorb the tractive forces of the soundboard and strings without distortion. The same applies to the construction of the piano rest. One of the most important components is the special Seiler high-performance rest plank, which absorbs approximately 20,000 kilogram string tension at the rest pins for decades. Depending on the model, this consists of 20 to 23 layers of beech. Then the soundboard is bonded onto the prepared back, and the finished component is aligned in order to ensure subsequent installation of mechanical parts and keys with optimal precision, a particular feature of Seiler quality. Before the instrument is strung, the armored frame, specially developed by Seiler for the particular model, is cast according to the German industrial standard for casting, DIN number 1691. This standard is subject to rigid controls. Seiler constructors guarantee high stability of this important bearing element in the piano, as well as the conscientious work of the foundry workers. The drilling of the hitch pins in the iron frame is carried out using hardened precision templates, one of our engineers' own decisions allowing the closest tolerances. After finishing, the iron frame is fitted to the sound body and the string support adjusted to the bridges and armored frame according to the strict standards Seiler imposes in processing. The pressure of the strings on the bridge is of major importance to the tonal beauty of every instrument. The production number is stamped into the soundboard in order to preclude any fakes. The iron frame of grand pianos requires special finishing because of the beauty of workmanship required by Seiler, which is particularly effective when the grand piano is opened. As with the piano, the iron frame of grand pianos is fitted to the sound body with the utmost precision, and the string pressure on the bridges is meticulously adjusted by craftsmen. The high-performance rest plank is precision drilled to a tolerance of 100th of a millimeter, and the rest pin then undergoes strict testing and controls. The torque of the rest pin should not fall below 200 kilopounds per centimeter. The bass strings are wound by experienced specialists according to the optimum physical values calculated by Seiler constructors. The instrument is then strung using machines specifically developed by Seiler. The rest pins used guarantee a compression strength of 90 kilograms per square millimeter. The skilled combination of man, machine, and material results in a particular good tunability and ensures the tightness of the rest pin in the rest plank over many decades. Subsequent tuning precision is ensured by the aging of the strings through pressure and warming. When new, the strings are tightened to normal frequencies. Parallel to the production of the sound body of a grand or upright piano, the housing or cabinet is produced. The first stages in this are the drying of the wood to 8% moisture, as well as the cutting thereof. From time immemorial, a pleasure to the eye has been a complement to a pleasure to the ear. This tradition is cultivated assiduously by Seiler. Cause for admiration are the fine, rare wood veneers and marquetry work from a wide selection of beautiful timbers, including walnut, mahogany, rosewood, cherry, oak, and yew. Well-lit halls for our specialist team of workers ensure optimal conditions for good work. The cooperation of first-class and experienced cabinet makers is a precondition for beauty and quality in the forming and construction of Seiler grand piano housings. It is only their manual dexterity which rounds off the finished instrument. Staining of the wood reflects the requirements of customers throughout the world. A wide variety of selected timbers and stylistically decorative elements complete Seiler's wide production palette. Meticulous alignment using precision machines ensures the accuracy and consistency in measurement prescribed by our constructors. In the production of a piano housing, many types of computer-controlled automatic machines play their part in order to help achieve the desired favorable relationship between price and performance while maintaining the highest of standards. Despite the use of first-class machine, the human touch is imperative in the final stages in order to achieve the finest of finishes. The wood can be colored matched to a specific sample according to the customer requirements. The top coat is applied with no adverse effects on the environment, using the latest findings and standards both in automatic spraying and pouring procedures as well as in conventional hand spraying techniques. High investment justifies Seiler in being labeled a pioneer in the field of environmental protection. High-gloss surfaces are finished using procedures which have been specifically developed for this purpose. The finish bears witness to the immaculate quality of the finished product. A beautiful instrument also makes playing more enjoyable. Seiler uses a wide palette of different stylistically decorative elements to meet customers' individual tastes. Now the housing is assembled. It is connected with the sound body according to maximal precision requirements. The precision is necessary in order to allow installation of the keys and mechanical parts in the bearing elements of the housing. A steel frame specifically developed by Seiler permanently stabilizes the correct functioning of the mechanism. The keyboard is produced using the finest woods, such as fir or basswood, which have been subjected to a precision-monitored drying process. Automatic drilling and trimming machines ensure optimal precision. Subsequent finishing is done mainly by hand, using machines secondarily. With the bonding of the semitones together with a grinding and polishing, as well as a strict quality control of all individual parts, the keyboard is completed. The keyboard is now installed in the instruments by the piano maker. This is followed by the installation of the maintenance-free and totally silent pedal mechanism, the function of which, with a downward pressure of no more than 5 kilograms, guarantees piano players acute sensitivity. The next major production stage is the manufacturing of mechanical parts. Computer-assisted high-tech automatic systems ensure optimal precision of all interrelating components. Approximately 6,000 parts are combined in one single mechanism. We can safely talk about a technical wonder because of strict working methods and controls. The adjustment of the mechanical parts in a Seiler piano or grand piano absorbs on an average of 1/5 of the total time spent by piano makers on one instrument, which by now comprises approximately 9,450 individual parts. The individual mechanical members are assembled by hand until the pre-assembled action can be installed into the instrument by the piano maker. The dampers are made of the finest wool material. Now the dampers are installed into the instrument. Here we see this procedure in the case of a piano, or by way of a sharp contrast, a grand piano. High precision accuracy we here see executed guarantees the pianist a reliable acoustic reproduction on the high quality Seiler instruments. The mechanical parts are assembled manually by the piano maker according to Seiler's strict standards. And now a glance at the manufacture of the most important component in an upright or grand piano, namely the hammer. Finest quality wool from Highland grazing sheep is selected and processed. The hammer cores, developed for this purpose by Seiler, are made of hornbeam or mahogany, while the hammer shanks are made of birch or maple, according to model. The hammers are installed by an experienced piano maker. We see him here at the grand piano and here at the upright. Once the mechanical parts have been assembled, known in the trade as tape check action, Adjustments are made, and this requires a great deal of patience and experience, as well as strict monitoring by Seiler quality controllers. Young piano makers have to go through 3.5 years apprenticeship and college training in order to meet the high standards requirement. It is only by having their own apprentices workshop that the required continuity and quality can be guaranteed. The pianist or specialist can differentiate between features of quality, and practiced fingers can feel how much work the piano maker has invested and whether an instrument will satisfy the most stringent demands. Every single process is repeated 88 times. The action of a grand piano is noticeably different from that of a piano. Adjustment procedures are similar and serve the same purpose, namely, pleasant and even touch. 400 strokes with optimal repetition per minute guaranteed. Perfect damping. Clean center function and freedom from accompanying noises. The functions are continually tested and monitored down to the minutest detail in order to bear witness to the legendary Seiler quality with every instrument. The hammering tests prove the strength of the mechanical parts and keyboard on grand pianos as well as on pianos. The hammers are accurately aligned by using shims under the flange and casting the hammer shank. The working together of the keyboard and mechanical parts is based on physical laws which have been specifically worked out for each model by Seiler constructors. The balancing out of the specially developed key counterweight is done key by key. The play of the keys is checked and adjusted. Particularly important for optimal playing is that the keys are laid straight. A further sign of quality is when the keys have been checked and set to ensure perfectly uniform downward travel. Once the hammer has covered half the distance to the string, the damper must release the string in order for it to resound freely. This process is enacted here on a grand piano, and here on an upright. In order that the variety of features of the natural products composing the soundboard and hammer felt always reproduce the typical Seiler acoustic character and tonal beauty, the fine-tuner is the last to be engaged in the long line of working procedures. He is the one who, with his trained ear, can fulfill even the most particular preconceptions of our customers when it comes to tone within the context of Seiler's pianoforte construction. By voicing or filing the hammers, he can achieve optimal balance of the instrument, thus refining the pianist's interpretation. In show business, Seiler's Showmaster Midi Grand enjoys great popularity among well-known performers. Every Seiler instrument is tuned 6 times and fine-tuned twice before it is subjected to the final control. Manuela Seiler's and her teacher's piano playing give Seiler piano makers proximity to virtuosity and their requirements. Seiler instruments have been played by world-famous pianists for over 100 years now, and they're still being played today. Seiler instruments are assured high regard by virtue of patents, prizes, their delivery to nobility and royalty, conservatories, academies, and teachers. Seiler, a story of piano makers who gained